Hello and welcome back everyone, I am the Otaku, and it's time for a blaster showdown. Today I will be comparing two blasters in an epic head-to-head showdown by looking at some statistics, examining realistic use cases based on these stats, and then voting on what one is the best overall blaster. Now let's go ahead and introduce the contestants. First we have the A280C Bro. It is a sturdy and powerful blaster with a high rate of fire and excellent firepower. Modified from the A280 rifle, it is a standard issue blaster rifle of the Rebel Alliance and favorite weapon of the Alliance Commandos. Next is the E-11 Jack, a powerful and accurate blaster rifle ideal for use in all environments. Being a perfect all-around weapon, it has been adopted as a standard issue for the Imperial forces. Now it's time to go through the stats and see what blaster has the advantage in each category. But before we get started, I need you to be aware that these blasters do share some similar statistics like muzzle velocity, and because it's not effective to compare the same numbers, they will be completely omitted to save time. Also, you should keep in mind that this comparison and its outcome is based on statistics pulled directly from the game files, and then analysis done based on that. The point in the video is to understand what blaster is going to generally facilitate the best experience for most people, given its stats and how they apply to real situations. This does not guarantee that the blaster is going to work better for you, and it shouldn't persuade you into not using a certain weapon. Starting off with damage, the A280C does 25 damage, and at 10 meters begins to drop off. By 60 meters it will be down to 12 damage. The E-11 does 35 damage, and at 10 meters begins to drop off as well. Also by 60 meters going down to 15 damage. That means the E-11 is doing 40% more damage at close range and 25% more damage at long range, and takes the victory for the damage round. The E-11's higher damage means that each shot really packs a punch, and it's going to reward very accurate gameplay. Next is rate of fire. The A280C shoots at 400 rounds per minute, while the E-11 shoots at 300 rounds per minute. This means the A280C is shooting 33% faster and is going to win this round. With the A280C, you will have no problem hitting moving targets, and missing a few shots is much less punishing. So what comes out on top, the higher damage output or the higher rate of fire? Let's take a look at the time to kill to figure that out. Pulling up the charts, you can see the overall time to kill of each blaster is extremely close. This is because while the E-11 does have a higher damage output, the A280C's higher rate of fire is compensating for that a lot. Considering the fact that the A280C only pulls ahead for very brief moments, and the E-11 keeps the best time to kill for most distances, I'm going to say the E-11 is a winner, if ever so slightly. Moving on to shots before overheating, the A280C is capable of firing 27 rounds before overheating. The E-11 on the other hand can shoot 19 before overheating. Firing 42% more shots before overheating, the A280C should be the clear victor. However, just looking at how many shots before overheating hardly accounts for anything if the blaster in question requires more bullets for each kill. So to really figure out who's going to win this category of ammo, we need to look at how many shots can be fired in relation to how many shots it takes for each kill. So with that being said, pulling up the bullets per kill chart, we have the A280C doing a lower damage and therefore requiring one more shot for each kill at most distances, but it would seem that its overall spare shots is going to be higher than the E-11's. For example, the E-11 at 25 meters requires 4 shots per kill and could theoretically kill 4.75 people with its 19 rounds. The A280C requires 5 shots per kill and could kill 5.4 people with its 27 rounds. This means the A280C gives you the potential to take on more enemies at once and is going to come out on top for this round. Next we want to take a look at the recoil of each weapon. The A280C has a recoil pattern of 0.2 vertical going upwards, and then 0.1 horizontal to the left and to the right, with a first shot multiplier of 0.1. The E-11 has a recoil pattern of 0.15 vertical and 0.1 horizontal to the left and right, with a first shot multiplier of 1. This round is a little bit tough as the A280C has a 90% lower first shot multiplier, which means you're going to have much less jump after your first round is fired, but it does build up more recoil over time than the E-11, especially when you consider its faster firing rate. The E-11 has a much higher first shot multiplier as we just said, but it has 25% less upwards kick overall and it recovers 50% faster from that recoil when you stop firing, meaning that after the initial jump you can hold down your trigger and expect to have slightly less upwards pull over time, remaining very consistent when firing, and then completely recover in a short amount of time before engaging your next opponent. So overall, both blasters are very controllable and should pose no problem at all. Their recoil patterns, while being slightly different, do end up with a fairly similar result. So this round is going to be a tie. Next, looking at the spread, the A280C has a base spread of 0 and increases at 0.03 per shot. The E-11 also has a base spread of 0 but increases at 0.08 per shot. With a 63% less spread increase per shot, the A280C should come out on top. However, once again, this statistic alone does not account for realistic situations, because while the A280C does have a lower spread, it is firing at a faster rate and generating spread faster. What we really want to know for this is how is the overall accuracy in a realistic firing situation. So with that being said, let's move on and check out the overall accuracy. So the overall accuracy is going to be determined by the combination of recoil and spread together, in a similar way that time to kill is determined by your damage and rate of fire and muzzle velocity. However, instead of going through all the math that calculate which blaster is going to generate the most spread and recoil based on its rate of fire, it's much easier to simply look at an actual example of the spread plot charts. Here is the accuracy plot for each blaster, and you can see while they are fairly similar, the A280C does come out on top with a little bit tighter bullet grouping, and so the A280C is going to win this round. So to summarize for you, the A280C Burrow is a great contender at all distances when it comes to infantry combat. Its damage is slightly lower than the E-11's, and it's not going to outdo situational based weapons that accelerate at specific ranges. However, its high rate of fire makes it very easy to stay on moving targets, works much better with explosive shot, and helps keep up its time to kill. The lower recoil and spread are going to give you very straightforward accuracy, where it's almost always shooting exactly where you aim, and it doesn't deviate from that path until you have fired many consecutive rounds. Then finally, the insane shots before overheating is allowing you to take out multiple opponents very easily, not be punished for missing shots, and allow for a lot of flexibility in your gameplay. The E-11 Jack is another all-rounder able to perform at a wide range of distances without too much concern. The high damage makes for very powerful stopping power and rewards accurate gameplay with the faster time to kill. Unfortunately, due to the lower rate of fire, missing a few shots can get you killed, and using items like explosive or ion shot just doesn't have the same impact. While the E-11 does have a fairly high first shot multiplier, for the most part you're going to have a pretty consistent and controllable weapon. Then, just like the A280C, the E-11 is no wimp when it comes to putting out lots of rounds and will allow you to take on multiple opponents. Overall, both blasters are very great and able to perform just as well as the other in many situations. In the end, what this comes down to is a slightly stronger potential with the E-11 or a much greater ease of use with the A280C. I am going to cast my vote for the A280C, because a majority of the player base is on console, and being on console myself, I know that pinpoint accuracy is not something that is easily done all the time. Even when I do have great accuracy, using a weapon that I don't really need to put too much thought into is an overall better experience. I can then put my attention onto other important aspects like positioning and situational awareness, something that can become very difficult when you're putting a lot of focus just into weapon mechanics alone. So with a 3-over-2 lead and my overall vote, the A280C is going to be the winner. However, feel free to cast your own vote. You can do this by clicking on the icon in the top right corner of the video, and I will be sure to announce the results in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Give a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more awesome content to come, and just a reminder, if you want real-time updates from Otaku, then feel free to check out my social media links in the description below. I'll see you guys soon, but until then, as always, may the Otaku be with you.